Alright, so we got another comic review here, and this time around we're going to be talking about Alien Icarus. This is the third volume in the, I guess you could call it the Philip Kennedy Johnson trilogy, where it's also weird because they renumbered it back to Alien number 1 to 6 when it should be, I guess you could say, issues 13 to 16, like, because yeah, for some reason they renumbered it and then they renumbered it again after this, and now doing a new storyline with a new group. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah. So what is Alien Icarus? This, if you've read Bloodlines and Revival, this is kind of in connection with that, but again, it really doesn't follow that same story. It really is kind of like its own story. It's just kind of all like they all kind of loosely connect to each other, and that's really it. So you could really, in theory, read this on its own. Although this does make a lot of references to Revival. It's kind of like the Mafia games where they make loose connections to the previous game, but you could play it on its own, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so Alien Icarus is a pretty fun story. Fun in the sense if you're an Alien fan, because it's not fun for everyone else here. But Alien Icarus is basically a story that is set not focusing on humans this time, but this is the first time we get our focus is on synthetics. A group of former top-secret synthetic commandos called SEAL Team, which have been living in exile for a couple years, but now their old boss has called them in for one last mission, and yeah. It's kind of like your classic action story, really. Like that's really what we're looking at here, is a classic action story. They have to go to a planet called Tobler 9, which has been nuked for years after a xenomorph outbreak, in order to find a xenomorph egg that they can use to extrapolate from multiple diseases. In turn, they'll get their freedom and freedom for all synthetics. I really like the cast of SEAL Team. They all try to act above humans, and I also like how they do they consider David, the Michael Fassbender's AI from one of the few good things from Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which was Michael Fassbender as David, and they make him like their equivalent to Jesus in a way. Like I really like that, like the scriptures of David, or what in the name of David is this? Like it's kind of like that. Like David is their Jesus. So I thought that was a pretty neat idea. The aliens themselves on Tobler 9 are a little different. Now, I don't mean like, well, we'll get into one difference, but that kind of takes a bit from Prometheus in a good way. But in here, the xenomorphs in here are a little different, but they're man-made, but not in the way you think. Basically, it's discovered that the xenomorphs this brand of xenomorphs are called the Icarus strain. Basically, in Tobler 9's research facilities, they were essentially what they were doing was breeding the xenomorphs like dogs to get the best out of them. But instead, one of the scientists said, I think we made them too much like us, because these xenomorphs aren't like animals like the past. Like, they aren't like, defending home territory or going out foraging for food or whatever, or bring back to the nest. These are actually sadistic xenomorphs. And they're also spiteful. Like, if one is killed, then they'll kill like 10 humans in response. Or they will kidnap a child and purposefully leave like little gifts, like a lost toy or a shoe, in order to lure more people closer to their nest and kill them all. There's even a moment where where the SEAL Team looks up and sees nothing but children's shoes hanging from the nest. And I'm like, this is a little fucked up. So it does kind of I always liked the fact that the xenomorphs were smart, but they were always like animals. But here it's like, okay, mankind, like it kind of plays in the whole thing that that fucking around with nature plays near mankind's own destruction. So the xenomorphs, it's kind of the Icarus strain of xenomorphs are a level of that. Do they have special powers? No, they're just kind of they're just smarter and a lot more spiteful. There is another special xenomorph made from a human being that gets infected by a xenomorph bug. And becomes like this xenomorph human hybrid, kind of like what what's his like kind of what they wanted to do for Prometheus before the guy got burned. So that there is that, and it did reminiscence. It did give me visions back or flashbacks back to the Dark Horse event Fire and Stone, which is probably one of, if not the best Dark Horse Alien Predator comic out there. It was a great mixture of Alien, Predator, and Prometheus. If you like. Finding Fire and Stone books is pretty damn hard, but if you can, go check them out. It's a lot of that event is so damn good. Anyway, I highly recommend Alien Icarus. If you want to check out like a book that is visceral and bloody, as well as it is a little slow at the start, I will admit, but I think that kind of plays into it, and the characters are strong enough. The synthetics known as Steel Team are strong enough characters on their own that you don't mind. Also, it really racks up tension of when you don't see the Xenomorphs, because they're around every corner. Like they're just ducking around the corner waiting to strike, and that's just kind of adds more like tension to the book. So I highly recommend this. Like I said, you could probably pick this. This comic came out a week ago, and it's fresh. It's new, and you could definitely read this comic as its own story. While it is technically part of a trilogy, and it does make reference to Revival, which I will say I think of the three, Revival's my favorite. Even though it's Salvador Larroca on art. And the artwork here by Julius Ota Nyen Narito is way better. I think it's a lot better artwork than Larroca's artwork. But this is a comic you could read on its own and feel satisfied. And if you you could probably read this and then pick up Bloodline and Revival later on. And also, I'm waiting for the trade of Alien Thaw, which will be coming out in November. Totally different creative team, but I'm actually excited for it. The Marvel Alien books have been really good, and Chris told me that he is sending me the Predator book, the Marvel Predator comic, so I can't give my thoughts on the Predator book by Ed Brisson yet. So, but yeah, Marvel's been doing good so far in the Alien books, so hopefully that carries to the Predator books too. But other than that, you guys tell me in the comments below if you've read this. Let me know in the comments below. And other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.